Our next presenter is Raymond Lowe. Raymond is a senior consultant with Industry Capability Network WA. And for those that aren't aware, Industry Capability, or ICN as they are referred to as, is a national network of independent industry consultants managed by industry and sponsored by state governments to achieve beneficial outcomes for local Australian and New Zealand industry and economy. And I think the best person to give us a rundown of that is Raymond. Thanks, Raymond.
Okay, thanks. So I'll firstly talk about who we are and then what we do, and also potentially how we can help some of the contractors or some of the companies here to win work on some of the major projects. ICN is actually a national network, so New Zealand is actually part of it. And we have over 100 consultants working in Australia and New Zealand. We have 24 offices located around Australia and New Zealand, and we actually have a database of about 60,000 companies in ANZ. I'm not sure if any one of you have registered on ICN Gateway. No? So we're principally funded by state governments. And next slide, please. In WA, we are part of the Chambers of Commerce, and that's actually funded by the Department of Commerce. Most of our funds are coming from Department of Commerce, and sorry, just the back on. And the way we describe ourselves, as Tony mentioned earlier, is we are a specialist Australian vendor identification service provider. Okay. Okay. So why do we do this? It's all about creating and retaining employment for Australian companies. So as Richard mentioned earlier, the Australian Industry Participation Plan, we try to help project proponents and major contractors retain all the work in Australia as much as possible. So it's all about local content. We push that very, very hardly. And how do we do it? We offer tailored ANZ procurement solutions through personalised consultant service. So we have dedicated consultants working on each major WA project, and we work closely with project proponents and the main contractors to meet the project procurement requirements. Some of the services that we offer, next slide please. Yeah, so as you can see there, ultimately we would like to help Australian companies connect to Australian suppliers. We would like to help Australian suppliers to connect to major projects and ultimately win some of the work on some of the major projects. We also provide an early analysis on industry capabilities. So this is at the pre-feasibility stages. There might be the major project proponents who are looking at establishing their projects in Australia and looking at the costing side of things. So we also assist them in doing that. Besides projects in Australia, my particular role is helping Australian companies to win work overseas as well. So connecting Australian suppliers with offshore companies and winning work in global projects. The next point there is we also provide assistance with AIP plans. So we help them to draft a lot of the project proponents or the main contractors to draft AIP plans so that they will help the Australian companies. And also some of the tender clauses, including the cascading requirement for second-tier engagement. And last but not least, we also offer project briefings and workshops. So essentially what we do is we identify Australian supply capability to buyers, and we act like a bridge to link Australian products and services not just to domestic projects, but also to the global supply chains. The next slide is a bit busy. Unfortunately, I don't have my laser pointer with me. But what I'd like to illustrate here is if you look at the top two boxes, the project owner and the project's engineering company. So if you take the Wheatstone project, for instance, so the project owner in this instance would be Chevron, and the project engineering company would be Bechtel. What they'll do is they'll list all the packages. So the packages could be things like looking for piping or pumps, and not just physical products, but also services. They could be looking for catering services, helicopter chartering, and so forth. So they'll list the packages on online systems, on ICN Gateway or Project Connect up here. So this is where companies like yourselves would register your interest on those specific packages. And what ICN would do is then review the registrations there and do a bit of due diligence, a bit more research, and then nominate companies that we think are capable of doing the job to the project owners or to the clients. We also have our other supply sources. Like I mentioned, we have a database of about 60,000 companies, so we also draw from that. But maybe for the larger companies like GECO, they might be already using things like Project Connect, ICN Gateway. For the smaller companies, I would still urge you all to look at Project Connect or ICN Gateway, because there's still value on registering your interest, even though you might be a third or fourth tier service provider or product provider, because as you can see just on the left side here, if you register your interest, once the contract has been awarded, the people who have registered interest will be informed of the award winner. So that's where you can make contact with the award winner to find out what opportunities you might have to provide a partial service or component of the product for that package. I know this slide is a bit busy, but if you'd like to chat to me after the presentation, I'll be more than happy to walk you through the slide. I have a printout here so I can show it to you in more detail. Yep, next. And finally, I'd just like to put up a list of consultants in the WA office. Each consultant there is working on a particular project. So if there is a specific project that you're interested in, those are the contact people, and you can ask me for the contact details. So I'll just quickly run through them. Linus is our manager. Brian is working on the Wheatstone project. Paula is on the Gorgon. Danielle is on Woodside. Mark is on Roy Hill. Fiona is on Shell Prelude. And I'm working on global projects. So if you have any service or product that you like, that you think is is export ready, or you think it would be useful to promote overseas to global oil and gas suppliers projects, please talk to me after the presentation. Yep, thanks very much.